This is by far the biggest group of students I have seen come to class. Thank you so much for rocking out to TennoCon 2022. My name is Gemma Laurel. I had the absolute privilege of voicing for Cephalon Melika. I can honestly say that the Warframe community is the best in video games, so have an awesome one and be great to each other.
Hi Tenno, I'm Maya Grant and I play Archimedian Yonta. It was a pleasure to voice the character and I'm so grateful for you for playing. Thank you so much and have an amazing TennoCon. Goodbye for now.
Well, if it isn't my favorite grubber. I'm Brent Mukai, the voice of Cavallero. And I hope your TennoCon is, enjoyable. That's it, right? That's all I gotta say? Perfect. Oh, and will someone just give me a damn Kubro already? Is that too much to ask?
Greetings, Tenno. So good to see all of you again. Hey guys, my name's Kara Volchov. I voice Hombask. I just wanted to say hi and let each and every one of you know how thrilled I am to be part of Warframe. Enjoy TennoCon 2022.
Hi, it's David Ottavino, voice of the husband in the Zariman ARG, just making a quick video to say happy TennoCon. What could go wrong? Please, someone help open this door. It's jammed and I have to pee. How long have I been trapped in this booth of anguish as the stench fills my nostrils because I wet my pants? Happy TennoCon, my angels.
Hey Tenno, my name is Capritano and I voice Kira in the Warframe ARG. Some of you may have known her as Zari-chan or Cephalon Fog. I don't know, who cares? Anyways, I really appreciate you for finding all those logs and I really hope you have a great TennoCon. Bye!
Hey there, Tenno. I'm Calvin Joyle, the voice of Viso, or Vico, or Tico, depending on who you ask. The Warframe community is genuinely one of the kindest gaming communities I've ever encountered, and your sweet comments about Viso mean so much to me. Have a great TennoCon, or profit.
Hey Tenno, this is Adam Bennett, the voice of Call 175. Wishing everyone watching a happy TennoCon, and from the bottom of my heart, thanks to all of you for your love and for your support.
Hola, Tenno. It's me, Varcia. Remember me? Amiguitos, it's me, Gigi Saúl Guerrero. A big hello all the way from Vancouver, Canada. Queridos Tennos, I hope you guys have an amazing time at TennoCon. Sending a big hello, and just like Varcia says, let's shake the walls. Ow!
Hi, I'm Davenant Doyle, aka Captain Valaglarios. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Hope you're enjoying yourself. I have one thing to sing to you. Sisters below, below, we're going where the winds don't blow. Yeah, we're all bound down in the deep and we'll all be sleeping in the cold below, below. Sleeping in the cold below. Even though it's very hot here, obviously. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the TennoCon 2022 Sounds of the System panel. This is a pre-recorded panel, and my name is Marcus Kretz. I work here at Digital Extremes. I am a senior community coordinator, and for the next hour, we'll be taking a deep dive into all things sound design, music, dialogue, and Warframe. Now, this is a general spoiler alert for anyone who has been playing through Warframe. If you have not completed the main storyline content for Warframe yet, there will be heavy spoilers ahead. Specifically for the new war quest and for the Angels of the Zariman update. So you have been warned, heavy spoilers ahead. Now, without further ado, I would love to introduce the panelists that are joining me today. I'm very honored to be joined by three incredible people. First up, we have George Spanos, Audio Director for Warframe. George, how's it going?
Good, good. How is everyone doing?
Doing great,
Hopefully,
doing great.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. We also have Erich Preston, lead sound designer.
Hello, happy to be here and happy to talk about the sounds of Warframe.
Yeah, we love it. Thanks for being here, Erich. And one of our favorite composers, Keith Power. Thank you for joining us again this year. Great to have you.
Oh, so very happy to be here. Yeah, it's nice to see you guys.
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, it's been so long. I mean, this is the first time I've seen Erich and George in 2 years in person, so it's incredible how time has just flown by. And speaking of which, in terms of the audio team, you know, operationally, are you guys still working from home, or have you been able to come back into the office at all?
It's still mostly from home. It's, we built a new sound studio, and so we've trying to been, coming in now and then to kind of use it in that, recording some Foley and doing some voice stuff and that kind of thing. But it's mostly from home right now, and hopefully soon-ish we'll get back in all together, because it'd be great to see the whole team day in and day out instead of over a screen and a camera. So.
Mm-hmm. Keith, I'm pretty sure you're still working from home, correct? That's your studio in the back there.
Well, I commute every day, and it's about a 30-second commute.
Right.
I walk from the house through my yard, and and then I'm here. So it's more of the same. I've been working from home for many years, and I'm gonna probably keep that up. I like it that way.
Nice. Yeah, that 30-second commute probably can't be beat. So. No, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. Very nice. Well, it's been an incredible year for Warframe. Looking back, the amount that's been achieved in the past year really can't be overstated. But really, I have to start with going back to the new war. After 8 years of Warframe, it was the longest quest in Warframe history. It brought an incredible amount of work behind it, but it certainly had an incredible amount of love and work that went into it from the sound team especially. So, we touched on it briefly on last year's panel, but, for the sheer amount of dialogue that was recorded for the New War quest, was there any logistical challenges in terms of capturing just that much audio?
Yeah, it was a lot. Like it looking back on it now and thinking about it, actually I should have highlighted all the lines to see what the line count was, but it was a lot, and it was a lot of coordinating with all the different actors, and it was a lot to kind of get it all hooked up in the game and everything. So yeah, but in the end, you're so in the mindset of doing it, you're in this kind of the eye of the storm, and then you release it and you're like, wow, and you take a look back and you're like, wow, that was a lot of work that we put into that. So yeah, very, very proud of the team and what we were able to accomplish with that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it was just an insane amount of, because I think even before that, I can't even think of the second longest quest in reference to that. But the fact that the New War was, I think, on many first playthroughs was around 4 hours is just an incredible leap in terms of length.
And of course, you've got all the operator and drifter dialogue ×4, right? So you're here, you finish one, and then you're like, okay, we're done. It's like, well, no, you got to do that 3 more times. And, in the cinematics, we would have to time it out. So we had one actor who was kind of the lead, and then everything was timed out to his reads. So all the other actors would have to follow the timing and the pacing, because of course when they do the animations, they just do one version, right? So all the mouths have to kind of move at the same speed, and we a couple of our team members, Slater and Chris in particular, did a lot of finagling of dialogue lines to make sure they all lined up, choosing operator, we call them operator A, B, C, and D, testing them to make sure that they work, and then, making another choice and testing another cinematic, and does it line up? Is everything okay? So that was a lot of work. I distinctly remember that, even from a tech point of view, making sure that they switched properly based on player choice. So
yeah, incredible to have, like you said, 4 different contexts for both operator and for drifter across 4 different voices. Like what a challenge that must have been. Now, another moment from the newer quest as well that I've been dying to talk about. That was probably one of my favorites of the whole quest. And again, another spoiler warning for the new war. If you have not yet completed it, massive spoilers ahead. There's a moment towards the end of the quest where we finally see the man in the wall as I guess I would say a true void manifestation, literally a wall. And this moment of, seeing the man on the wall in, perhaps their true form, and there's that really haunting vocalization that comes out from them. It absolutely terrified me. I know it really resonated with fans as well. For that moment, was that something that, years back, perhaps you'd always known that this, form was going to come, and you always thought, oh, we know what voice we're going to use for that, or we know how that's going to sound? Or is that something that organically came up during development?
We had no idea, but I have to say that the actor is among us right now. So.
What?
Yes. So you're hearing it here for the first time.
It was me.
Yes, it was Keith.
That was you, Keith?
No.
No, it was me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
Eric definitely speak to it. I think it took a few iterations to kind of figure out what we wanted to do because we didn't have that preconceived notion of what it should sound like. But man, you hit it out of the park, and it turned out awesome. But yeah.
I remember seeing the concept art, and I just found the concept art to be as terrifying as what it ended up being in game. And I was working on the sounds for that cinematic, and I started playing with some ideas. And sort of one of the earliest things that I tried was a walrus. So I had this pitch down walrus, and it had this really menacing kind of tone. And then it did a pitch drop, and a kind of like a minor pitch drop, and it felt really strange and big and scary. So that was kind of the basis for what ended up being that voice. So using that as a base, I overdubbed myself on it, hitting the same note as that walrus kind of hit, except adding words in. And then I layered it multiple times, so my own performance multiple times, pitched it down, added some effects and processing, and mixed it together. And that's what the kind of the final result was.
And it's cool too because we've got those words in there, right, that the writing team came up with that he says. And I don't know, has anyone kind of figured out what deciphered what it is? And I don't know if the community is they've probably tried to pick it apart to kind of get those words and see.
There's been some very valiant attempts. I've heard some YouTube videos where they've pitched it up where you can really get close, but I can tell you that no one has found it yet.
I always thought it was, seriously, Erich is cool.
That's exactly it. That's what it was originally, but we had to change it.
Yeah. We got it there for sure. But it took
in all honesty, I think that's one of the best kind of endings and cinematics that we've done, sound design wise, musically, vocally, all of that stuff. It really came together really nicely. And also for being one of the last things that we tackled, right? Like I think, especially musically, as I recall, that was probably one of the last cinematics, those last couple that you and your team worked on, Keith. So,
Absolutely.
it turned out great though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. Yeah, Erich was awesome.
Yeah.
Was. And I mean, I think that speaks to how great that audio is at the end. That to me, I thought it might have been something that's been, cooking up for years, but to hear that it was, something that, had to be brought about almost in the 11th hour is pretty incredible. Look at where you guys are now. Could you imagine, all those years ago thinking, who knows, down the road we'll be doing the score for a 4-hour quest, what might you say to your former selves for that?
Yeah, it's like the movie version, right? It's, get to 10 years in or 8 years in or so, and let's do the movie version of this.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
It's better than the movie. It's better than
No, but it's true. It's kind of like it's taking a lot of the older ideas and building upon them and kind of bringing them together and kind of, making it feel more fleshed out. And that's what I love about, all the stuff that we've been doing, especially lately, is it's taking a lot of those older ideas and kind of melding them into something new and incorporating them. And so you really have this through line of sound design and voice and music especially that has continued. And you play Warframe, and I'd like to think, you play it and it sounds like Warframe, which is kind of always the goal. And it's always a good thing, I think. So
agreed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's incredible how moving forward that sonic palette has still held up, even though you've been able to take us in so many new, interesting directions, as we'll talk about later on in the panel for sure. But next up, we'll actually be seeing a behind-the-scenes video from the sound team that they prepared. We'll be taking a look at the sound design behind the Angels of the Zariman update. We'll specifically be looking at the sound design behind some of the new mission types, as well as a very highly requested look at the vocalizations for the Angels. Enjoy.
Hey everyone, Jess here from the sound team. Today I'm going to be taking you through some sound design from the Angels of Zariman update. Let's take a look. So we are in Void Flood game mode right now, and we're going to take a look at making a sound for one of these void fractures here. Let's start by recording some audio.
my gosh.
All right, so we are here in Reaper. We've got some mouth sounds, we've got some ghost voices pitched up and down, some spooky breaths, some synthesizer. Let's take a listen. Okay, so that's a lot of me making some weird sounds, but we are going to do some processing. So on some of our voice breathing sounds, throwing a bit of flange on there, here and there, throwing a bit of ring mod. The ring mod really makes it rattly. You might hear this sound in some other gameplay elements in the Zariman as well. This was really fun. We're gonna throw some similar chains on me, pretending to be a ghost. I was able to grab a sample of some sparks from a welding torch. We're gonna time stretch that, and we're gonna lower it in pitch just to make it sound super weird and artifacty. And I took the Void Ooze loop from the New War. I time stretched it a bit and just snuck it in as a texture layer. And here's everything together. Okay, very spooky. Let's throw this in the game and see how it sounds. Here it is by itself. And here it is with the rest of the game audio. That's all from me. Thanks for watching, thanks for playing, and I'll see you next time.
Hello Tenno, and welcome to TennoCon 2022. I'm Erich, part of the sound team, and today we're going to show you how we made the vocals for the Void Angels. We wanted the Void Angels to elicit a sense of beauty, but also fear. And what better place to start than with a Mayan death whistle. It's terrifying.
We recorded the death whistle and added some extra effects. That was feeling good, but we wanted to punch it up a notch. So this time, we recorded the death whistle again and pitched it down. Here's what that sounds like. And here's the two performances combined.
Once the death whistle was feeling appropriately terrifying, we wanted to add the beauty element. So for that, we used a reverse reverb trick on some female laughter.
We started with unprocessed laughter. And to begin this trick, you first have to reverse it. At this stage, you can add your favorite reverb or echo. And then you record that to a separate track. Once you have that recorded, you can move that to a new track, remove your reverb, and once again, reverse it to get the final product. Here it is combined with our death whistle.
Once the death whistle and the beauty element were combined, it was time to add a little bit of size and a little bit of danger. For that, we used a microphone called a Sanken C100. It records sounds above human hearing, and what that lets you do is pitch down your own vocals by several times to make something simple turn into what sounds like a beast or a monster.
This is what our original unpitched recording sounds like. And this is what the same recording sounds like pitched down several times. And then we added that to our death whistle and our reverse laughter for the final product.
And that's how the Void Angel vocals were created. I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes look, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Happy TennoCon.
Thank you for that. I mean, you know, once the Angels of the Zariman update dropped, we had that preview trailer that came out where we got that first glimpse of the angel, and from that first shriek, I think fans have been pretty curious to hear how those sounds were developed. So that was a very cool look at that. Thanks, Erich.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. And speaking of the Zariman, earlier this year, we finally got to, step on board the Zariman proper. We'd had a little bit of a visit during the New War, but, since Warframe began, people have been hearing, echoes of the Zariman, and finally we got to take a look and go on board that doomed colony ship. So, it was a really remarkable mission. It was a really, really great update in terms of the sound design, the music, and all the audio. And I just have to say, from even the track that was playing over the Warframe launcher when the update went out, the music just went in an entirely new direction, and still very much Warframe, but it was really cool to hear how the music was developed for that update. So Keith, I have to ask you, what inspired you to use something like an organ on the tracks for this update?
Erich.
Erich? That was Erich's idea?
Yeah, we were dialing it in, and much of the approach was inspired by the sounds that you sent me, the shrieking sounds. I think you sent me those, right? Initially?
Yeah, early on. Yeah.
Right. It was very helpful. It became a task of matching those sounds. So enormously helpful. And then it was Erich, it was your idea. It was like a last minute sort of, this might be crazy, but let's try it. And it really it was such a great idea, and I think it works really well. It just, it's pipe organ that just makes the whole thing it's a little bit more grand, for lack of a better word. It just like gives it its scope that it didn't have until we added the pipe organ. So
it was almost like because of the angel theme running through it, it was kind of like, how can we push this and give it sort of a cathedral vibe or a gothic vibe? And sort of, organ came to mind and thought it would be interesting to try. And of course, Keith knocked it out of the park with the parts that he wrote and worked it in beautifully with the tracks that he had written. So yeah, very thankful that he was able to make it work so well.
Yeah.
And I'd love to add, sorry to interrupt, but that Matthew Chalmers, before I forget, Matthew Chalmers, brilliant composer who helps me on a lot of things, worked with me on all of the Zariman music.
Yes.
So thank you, Matthew.
Yes. Thank you, Matt.
Out there watching.
Shout out Matthew Chalmers.
I believe he worked on some of the New War as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Matthew Chalmers, Evan Duffy, Steve Davis were my, very, very helpful collaborators on all of that music. So
nice.
Well, yeah, as George said, absolutely knocked it out of the park. It was fantastic. Given the Zariman, it's got that intense lore and such a specific, important part in terms of the lore and the history of Warframe and the Tenno. When you're creating that ambient audio on board the Zariman, was there a specific layer or sound that you started from in terms of capturing the theme in the history of the Zariman? Like, where was the starting point for that ambiance?
I think it kind of started in the New War, Erich? Like a bit.
Yep.
I mean, it was a bit of that, and then brought through into the Zariman update. But yeah, you worked on a lot of that, as I recall.
Yeah, absolutely. It totally started in the New War, and that mission really much set the tone for what we did for the Zariman update in terms of ambience. A lot of it was kind of trying to weave in some memories of and echoes of what would have existed on the ship before what happened, but also trying to keep it somewhat realistic and in an area where it would be believable. Didn't want to make it too spooky, didn't want to make it a haunted house or a house of horrors, but definitely wanted to feel that there was a presence there before what happened. So yeah, lots of iteration, lots of going back and forth with the team and working with George to get things right. We put a lot of time into our ambience work as well, and I know a lot of time people don't hear it under the gunfire, or some of the missions get right to the point very quickly. But yeah, we take a lot of time with it and kind of give each space its own characteristic sound. So yeah, if you're ever interested and you can get away from some enemies for any amount of time, turn the sound up and take a listen.
Yeah.
You'll find some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and I just want to mention too, sorry to cut you off, Marcus,
No, go
just
ahead.
before I forget as well, talking about other team members and just acknowledging the other people on the sound team, and that's Giovanna Agapito, Jess Buscema, Slater Groves, Jeff Hartling, Mark Perkin, Willem Shonkin, Jem Sermon, and Chris Teixeira. They all did a fantastic job on all of these updates, and can't thank them enough for their collaboration as well. So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But in terms of some things in the update that are, I guess, a little frightening, I did want to talk about our favorite Void manifestation, Skitter Girl, because, for anyone who's been playing through the Angels of the Zariman, you've probably been chased by this lovely Void manifestation. So I have to ask, is it more fun to do sound design for a creepy child than it is to be chased by one?
I think you have to be chased by one to know how to sound design for one.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. That voice was our comedian Yanta, and she recorded some lines for us for Skitter Girl. And Giovanni, one of the sound designers, he did the processing and got that working and made it extra creepy with the echoes and the reverb and all that stuff.
That's pretty great. I mean, fitting that it's also our comedian Yanta's, it's her own manifestation. So very cool to use the same voice actress for that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a fun chase, but it is cool. It's a good time. And then in terms of the Zariman, it very much has some certain tendrils into Duviri for sure. So I just wanted to ask, in terms of any sort of sound qualities, was there anything that perhaps we might hear from Duviri that is sort of layered into the onboard the Zariman? Are there any maybe sonic Easter eggs that we might be able to find on board?
Yes. I think there is a sonic Easter egg in Zariman. I think a lot of people have definitely found it. And there will be some sonic Easter eggs in Duviri from the Zariman as well. So yeah, keep your ear out.
Ooh, very cool. So next up, we're going to be seeing another video from the sound team. This time, we'll be taking a look at the revamped audio for the Eximus enemies that came with the Angels of the Zariman update, as well as we'll be taking a journey with our very own George Spanos to do some field recording. Enjoy.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris from the sound team. I'm going to show you my electromagnetic recording rig today. These are electromagnetic sensors which capture electromagnetic fields instead of sound waves through the air like your typical microphones on the left here. The magnetic field is strong with these dimmer switches here. Don't worry, I'm not doing anything dangerous. So I think I have something there usable that I'm going to try some sound design with. So I have Reaper open here, and I'm going to be sound designing for these little electrical orbs that come from the bioelectric Eximus unit. So we're gonna start with the electrical panel sound here. And it needs a little something, so I'm gonna add tremolator here. Gives it a little bit of rhythm. And then I'm going to add this plugin, which is a grains and pitch plugin. It's really cool. So what I did next was I changed the parameters here and basically played around until I found something that was really unique and interesting. And I went with that. Yeah. Augmenting these dials here. A little bit of EQ, compression, phase, panning, pitch shifter, and delay and reverb. And just like that, the sound was done. Here's the final result. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the rest of TennoCon.
Hey everyone. This year we thought we'd show you some ambience recording. Now I know we've done it in the past, but we've never used a binaural microphone in the past. A binaural microphone aims to replicate the human head. So it's got 2 ears on it, and in each ear there's a microphone. And so what it does is it records sound in a really interesting, in-depth way that you would normally hear the sound if you were out in that environment. Some of you know this as ASMR. The other thing we did was we got a seismic microphone. A seismic microphone, you can stick it onto metal, plastic, glass, whatever, and it records sound like normal microphones can't. So it gives it a depth and a clarity that you normally wouldn't get. It really adds importance and resonance to the sound, which is really interesting. So make sure you're wearing headphones for this, especially for the binaural part, and enjoy.
Next up, of course, as we've looked back at the new war and at the Angels of the Zariman update, we now, of course, have to look forward to the Duviri Paradox. We first got our look at the Duviri Paradox during that TennoCon 2019 trailer where, we saw that lone rider above on that skeletal horse, and it was pretty incredible to see that sneak peek. And now here we are looking ahead to Duviri. So, in terms of that 2019 TennoCon trailer, how has the sonic palette from that trailer held up? Have you, still been able to kind of draw on that as, the inspiration for Duviri moving forward? Or have you had some different realizations between creating that trailer and then now creating the update?
It's always funny to look back on things from a few years ago and try to, incorporate some of those ideas. And definitely, I guess to answer the question, there definitely some of it is being incorporated into what we're doing now, but of course there's a whole bunch of new stuff as well. It's interesting when you working on a trailer versus working on the game as a whole requires kind of a different kind of approach. And so what might work for a trailer may not work in the game and vice versa. But the general tone of it, for sure, I think we're trying to carry some of that through, but also kind of build on it, and Keith has been writing some great music for that. And I know the rest of the team has been working hard on making sounds for certain things in it. I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say, but
I know it's always a challenge, right?
I'm like, so much
did
I say that
you want to
or
get into?
No?
Yeah. The whistling is very Western, which I love. And speaking of different themes and ideas to draw upon, is there a specific kind of list of themes or inspirations that you want to draw on for Duviri? Is there kind of maybe like a genre you're sort of looking at in terms of where you want to develop perhaps the sound design even?
Yeah, it's a pretty wide range, and Erich, you can speak to this too. I think everything from Western to kind of I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say kind of space opera in a way. So there's a lot of that we're incorporating into it and trying to bring it into a new territory. It's a big update. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new area for players to explore. And so, the question is always like, how do we make it feel kind of familiar in tone, but yet new and exciting? So, yeah.
So I do have to ask before we move on from Duviri, George, you touched on this briefly before, but are there any, directions that will go sonically or perhaps, in terms of maybe a vocal performance that we haven't heard yet in Warframe? Is there any sort of untrodden ground that Duviri will go to that we haven't yet seen?
100% yes. And actually, I think Keith has been working on something that's going to be pretty damn cool.
Don't look over there.
Don't look at the screen though.
We're over here.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty cool. We're pretty excited about it actually. And we always try to do that, right? It's always try to like, hey, what can we do on this update to make it new and exciting and refreshing? And there's going to be plenty of that on Duviri, I guarantee it, from all departments really. So.
Yeah. No, it's been incredible to see the work already going into it, and I just, of course, fans may get another sneak peek later on in the show today for TennoCon 2022, but it's been incredible to see the work that's gone into it, and it looks it's going to be pretty special. Yeah. So I also I have to ask for there's certainly some aspiring sound designers and composers watching today. For a sound designer or someone who wants to get into composing, what's something that they could even do today to start working and honing their craft?
Like in this day and age, I mean, there's YouTube, there's trailers everywhere. There's so much content out there. Grab a trailer from your favorite game and redesign the sound, and try that. Try downloading Unreal, try Unity, try, all of these game engines that I think most of them you can get free versions of or demo versions of, and just start working away at kind of figuring out what makes them tick, from the technical side and then the trailers from the creative side, you can put a lot of different ideas into them and kind of build up your skills that way, I think is a good way of approaching it for sure.
Yeah, it really does take a long time to learn the craft, and there's really no replacement for experience and just trying and getting things wrong. So I always say the sooner you can start getting things wrong, the sooner you're going to start getting things right. So yeah,
that's cool.
Jump in.
No, that's awesome. No, thank you for those insights. Those are really great to hear. So next up for our panel, we're actually going to be playing a little game. So for those of you that are fans of the ever-popular Wordle, there's another version called Hurdle, where you need to listen to music and guess it quickly enough, as fast as you can. And so today we're bringing you Warframe Hurdle, Wordle. Nice. And you guys get to play it for the first time ever. So very, very exciting.
Awesome.
So
this is great.
Object of the game is you want to try and guess the source of the audio in as small of a duration of a clip as you can. So we'll play a small duration of a clip, and then if you're unable to guess it, we'll start playing longer and longer until we max out. I think we've got about 4 or 5 samples for each that we'll play. So you guys are working together on this, don't worry, and we'll have it separated by category so you can kind of stay in the same headspace. So first off, we'll be starting with the music category, so these will all be songs. So to guess correctly, you just need to either guess the title if you want, or you can guess what update the song is from. So here's our first track, and this will be about a second long.
Sounds of Duran. Oh, shoot, Keith, sorry.
Boom.
He wrote it, so what am I doing?
I didn't give it the name.
No.
I was going to say the werewolf one.
Yes. Yeah, what was that? That was with Ballas, and what was that update called?
The Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite tracks in the game. I love that track.
It's one of my favorite pieces I've ever written for anything. I think melodically it was successful, I guess. I don't know.
It's fantastic.
It achieved what I was going for. And I don't always quite get there, and I felt like I got there with that one.
Okay, and let's check out the next track.
I think I know it.
Think you know
it? Yeah, Angels of the Zariman. That's the Angel OST.
Yep.
The boss fight. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I forget the name of that one, but.
Yeah, I think it's On Corroded Wings.
On Corroded Wings.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very fitting title.
It's the nanas. Na 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 na.
yeah, I never thought of those like na 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 na.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so next up, so that was our music category. We'll be moving on to dialogue. So if you can guess either the character or honestly even the update that it's from, both will suffice. So you'll be hearing a shorter amount of dialogue, and then you'll just have to guess from there. So here's our first clip of dialogue.
Oh, that's Hunhow, vainglorious whelp.
Yep.
I forget the update,
Nice.
but yeah.
You got the line though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's weird, eh? How that just clicks in.
Yeah.
It's like memories rushing back.
Yeah, it's just like seeing the Matrix. Yeah.
Man, yeah, you absolutely sniped that, George. Yeah, I think that was a fan favorite among the community team for sure. We loved that line of vainglorious whelp. It was just
It's from the New War, isn't it? I think
it is. Yeah, it's the New War. Yeah, excellent delivery, and yeah, it's such a good bit of dialogue. We loved it. All right, and here's our last bit of dialogue.
Dream.
Or a night? Is that Dreamers?
No.
Oh. Oh, I'm out then.
All right, let's hear the second bit.
Dream. Let them defile.
Oh.
I should say they do scale up in difficulty as we go across each category. So this will be the hardest one.
This is a tough one.
This is a tough one.
It rings a bell, but I can't.
All right, ready for the full duration?
Yeah.
Dream. Let them defile. No more.
This is in the New War,
Mm-hmm.
and it's when you get to one of near the end, and you climb the tower, the Unum.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the Unum.
It is the Unum,
It's the
correct.
Unum Tower. Of course.
For the word.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
It was a pretty special moment in that quest because I don't think,
Yeah.
there's different characters you expect to hear from. I don't think the Unum is someone anybody expected to hear from. So that was, when everything slows down there and you get that angelic voice that comes through. It was really, really cool moment of that quest. And I think this next category is also increasing in difficulty as well. Now we're moving on to the sound effects or the sound design category. So if you can identify, the source of these bits of audio or the update that's from, both will work. So here we go. Here's our first sound effect.
Some kind of infested or something.
Need a little bit more of that flavor.
Yeah.
The bell too, but that's tough.
It is a
Ooh,
tough
that's
one.
a tough one. Increasing in difficulty, you said? Or do we start?
There is actually a hint I had planned for this one that I can give now. It is one of the archons.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
But you'll have to identify which one it is.
Right.
Archon.
Keith has it.
What was that, Keith?
Has it.
Archon number 3.
You're absolutely correct. It is Archon number 3.
Nice.
Nicely done. Yeah. Archon Naira. Nice.
Nice.
That's perfect.
Awesome.
Good job, Keith.
Yeah.
There you go.
Excellent. All right. Here is our next sound effect.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
That's not what's in the orbiter. What's the I'm forgetting the name of the beast thing in your orbiter.
Oh, the helmet?
Oh,
the helmet. Is
No.
that?
This is the latest Warframe.
Yes.
From
man,
Angels of
that's-
Zariman.
It sounded like a beastly.
Yeah.
Cool.
It is. Do you want to play the full sound effect?
Yeah, that's her fourth ability. Yeah.
Correct, Eric. Yep, you're correct.
Yeah.
It is Gyre's rotor swell.
Awesome.
Yeah, nicely done. Yeah, you had it after that after that first second clip. Well done, well done. All right, well, thank you guys for playing Wordle. That was a blast. It was very cool to see, hear some of the, the bits of history behind those different pieces of dialogue and music, and you guys were proved you were quite good at Wordle. So, well, very well done. A few weeks ago, we did ask the Warframe fans, both on the forums and on Reddit, to pose some questions for the three of you. So we can jump into those now. So Guts440 on the forums asks, why in the middle of For Narmer do you use a sample of what sounds like the intro to This Is What You Are?
Why? I'm trying to remember why. I think it's something along the lines of just trying to bring an echo of This Is What You Are, like a distant memory of how things used to be, sort of that kind of idea, like a little echo that, you might miss it, but you more than likely will just get this sense that it's connected to the past.
Mm-hmm. And Keith, I have to ask, how did that feel taking that anthem of We All Live Together, this hopeful, beautiful song, and then kind of inverting its entire theme? Was that your idea to corrupt your original idea?
Ooh, I don't remember whose idea. It was all very collaborative. It's George and I had, I think it was a 2-hour call one day, Zoom, quite like this, where it was just ideas back and forth, and the good ones are usually George's, and then I attempt to take credit for them later. But it definitely, I love the idea, no matter whose idea it was. I love the idea of having two pieces that you could actually almost overlap. I wanted them to play at the same tempo, in the same key, but I don't think we ended up doing it in the same key for vocal range reasons. But the melodies play off one of another, and a corrupt version of it is exactly the concept.
Enderleia on Reddit asks, what sound effect in the game is the most transformed from its original recording?
Wow.
That's a good one.
A lot of them, actually, Eric? I mean, it's funny, like we were saying earlier, you come in with an idea and you kind of twist and turn things until it's kind of like having like molten steel or something, and you're hammering at it into like bend it into your will, into the shape that you want it to be. I've done one thing kind of comes into mind. I don't remember what it was for, unfortunately, but just taking the sound of like a lion roar and just really like stretching it out and putting plugins on it and making it something kind of like completely different. I'm sorry, I can't remember what I use that on, but it happens a lot though,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're always trying to, refresh things and keep things updated where we can, without changing things too much. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's any one particular sound. It's lots of little things over time. And improving the technology that we use to play our sounds is a big part of it too. Mm-hmm. And that kind of indirectly affects older sounds and gives them new life and puts them into a slightly different context.
Yeah, I could only imagine as time goes on, that technology would just only enhance the, those original recordings for sure.
Absolutely. You surprise yourself too, right? Like you'll pull a sound in and you'll try different things, and I think that's a big part of sound design is like you can't be afraid to try things. And I'm sure it's the same with music too. It's like something you would think would sound a certain way. It's like, well, how can we make this sound something different? And just let's just try things on it, right? And not really thinking of the rules, as it were, in that sense. And you can come up with some really interesting stuff that way. So
nice. Yeah. Def Techno on the forums asks, what is your favorite sound effect that you haven't found the right place to use in game yet?
Easy, George.
Yeah. Rubber chicken.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah. One day there will be a pitch down rubber chicken in Warframe.
Keep your
Man, we
ears
used to
out.
have one of those in the office, When a build would be broken, someone would squeeze the rubber chicken and you'd hear through the office. So where is that rubber chicken? Where's
in my office.
Just waiting to be used on
Tucked
something.
away.
Yeah. Man in the Wall 2.0.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, that would be really. Those chickens do sound honestly pretty terrifying. So that would.
Yeah. I'll bet it would sound horrifying.
Yeah, chicken in the wall pitch. That like that. You know.
Yep. Yeah. Got to try it now.
It's gonna happen.
Next Warframe.
Yeah. Duviri Easter egg.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Chicken
and
frame.
I think one fan question that we definitely received a lot from this forum post and on Reddit, but I think across many avenues, I'm sure you all have heard it a lot for sure. But when should fans potentially expect the next Warframe soundtrack?
Well, I was talking to Keith about this not too long ago, actually. We have one in the works. It's funny because I was combing through all of the music that we've written since, 2018. Yeah, he's got it right there.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Yeah, and it's, I was talking to our merchandising team, and it's literally 4 records worth. It's an incredible amount of music that has been written in the past 4 years.
Wow.
And so we actually are hoping for the end of this year, but I can't make any promises as to that.
For sure.
But it's long overdue, and we need to get it out there, and it's definitely in the works. And yeah, we will definitely do it.
That's amazing.
And it will be 6 records by the time we're done.
And it will be 6 records. Exactly. Well, that's the thing, because we started talking about it like earlier this year, and so now Angels of Zariman, those tracks have to get added on, and now whatever else comes out before it. So, yeah, but it'll be good though. It'll be good. Excited for that.
I like your spirit, Keith. I like that. Let's add a couple more records on there. Let's get up to 6.
Yeah.
Let's make it a deluxe collection.
Go all the way.
Yeah. Fantastic. Now, I am very excited now. Earlier on, you guys informed me that we actually have a bit of a sneak peek of some music incoming from the upcoming Duviri Paradox update that we will play for you now. Thank you for sending that along. That was pretty special. Yeah, and honestly, a massive thank you to the 3 of you, but also to the entire sound team at Digital Extremes for all the work that you do for Warframe. It's absolutely incredible. And thank the 3 of you. Thank you to the 3 of you for joining us today for the sound panel. It's been an absolute blast.
Well, thank you, Marcus. It's been really fun. I enjoyed this. So.
Thank you,
Marcus. Yeah, it's been an honor.
Yeah, honor's all mine. Thank you so much. I also want to give a special thank you to DE Corey and the community team who helped co-produce this panel. So thank you, Corey, for your help. You were instrumental in this for sure. And don't go anywhere for TennoCon 2022, because next up we have a live panel brought to you by our very own Megan Everett as she goes through a live developer Q&A. She's joined by Pablo, Kaz, and DE Matt as they answer all of your questions live. So enjoy TennoCon 2022.